So what I'm going to do is give you my philosophy of life. What's death? What's life all about? What are we doing on earth? And for me, it's a question that at the beginning of any therapy, we're all looking for those answers. So I'll give you my philosophy. For me, life is made in 3 dimensions. Okay, there's the first dimension here, which I call Earth, or in French, la terre. What it means is everything we normally live, negative, positive, you're there, I'm there. It's a dimension, very easy to understand. There's a second, I call it neutral. In neutral, there's spirits, entities, call it whatever you want. People have different terminologies, but I call it as such. And as you see, like there's a picketed line, because yeah, there is spirituality on earth. Then there's the last dimension, which I call heaven. I put a C for in French, Dieu céleste, which here the spirits or entities, once they're here, I call them angels. I believe there's a door with a super bright light flashing from there. The source of that door, I call it God. So it's pretty down to earth, basic, and it's pretty simple for me. I say the door and I make reference to the door because it's universal. Anywhere, anybody on earth, China, India, Africa, America, Europe, people that have died and have came back to life, they would always say they saw some kind of tunnel, some kind of door. So I'm referring to that. I believe we were all here, and our souls came onto earth, and you end up here. Now this is even why we got into this, is what are we doing on earth? My reason for being on earth is to evolve spiritually, to be able to go to the light, to the door. That's my reason for being. I believe that if you suicide yourself, you kill yourself, the only thing that's going to happen is you cut yourself off from that and you go back here. That's all there is to it. I believe that our bodies are just a container for our souls. My reason for being is my soul, not my body. Okay? So if I were to kill myself, in reality, the body doesn't matter, it's going to end up in dust one way or the other. And when, anyway, so you end up here, and that's all. I've got this little thought, like I like The Simpsons, you know, like I've got these cartoons going on in my head, and what would happen if there was a list, a waiting list to come back on Earth? What happens, let's say if that waiting list was 500 years, because time goes so quick in here that you don't see the time go by. And in 200 years, the little son of bin Laden decides to blow up the Earth. What happens to all these, like for me there's a big dope. You know, it might be a big, big mistake. So, I'm not taking any chances with my soul. So like for me, it's not an option. I'm going to stay alive, and that's where I'm going. Now, I'm going to go into some details, because most people think, and when you talk about evolving spiritually, you talk about religion. So I'm going to give you my concept of what the Bible is, because all of the religions, or all of the major ones, derive from the Bible. So I'll give you my point of view as to what the Bible is about. For me, the Bible is divided into 2. You have the Old Testament and the New Testament. Now, what does the Old Testament consist of? I say 3 things majority. first thing would be the Ten Commandments. Then there's like a history book, David, Goliath, all nice stories there. And then there's the coming of the Messiah. For me, those are the three major things in the Old Testament. Myself, I believe that GC is the famous Messiah. So for me, the coming of the Messiah doesn't regard me anymore because he's already here. We got Christmas. History book doesn't concern me anymore either. It's just nice stories. And Ten Commandments either, because Ten Commandments are in meantime that the Messiah comes. So since for me he's already here and he came 2009 years ago, that doesn't concern me. So for me the Old Testament, the Jewish religion, they don't believe that JC is the Messiah. So they're still waiting for their Messiah, for the Messiah. Like for me, that's why they, like why not? It's him. Now we end up with the New Testament. For me, the New Testament is made by 12 men. They all walked, ate. They were men. And JC himself, the guy that used to walk on water and do all kinds of stuff, never wrote a paragraph in that book. Like I'm wondering why. Why couldn't he didn't know how to write, or was he so illiterate or stupid that he couldn't pull out 2-3 little phrases? Never mind a whole book. So I always wondered with that, but later in a few minutes I'll give you the answer as to why. But we still end up with the New Testament and what derives from it today in 2009. There's over 2,000 different religions from that same book. Now we call that church doctrines, a different way to interpret, different way to see. Number one, it comes from men. Number two, it's interpreted by men. So my biggest problem with all of that is being, my upbringing was Catholic and I ran around trying to understand religions, Pancretist, Baptist, and Anglican, and I tried to, really looking for answers. So my two main, we'll say, religions that I looked into was Catholic and Protestant. And today, at this very hour, in Ireland, people are killing themselves, shooting themselves, bombing themselves between Catholic and Protestant. I have trouble getting that one. So I want to understand, what's the difference between the two besides the Pope? And Catholic and Anglican have their high, whatever you call them. So I found out what it's all about, why they're killing themselves. And how it ends up is because the Catholics believe that it's the Holy Spirit that conceived little baby Jesus with Mary. And the Protestants say, no. It's Joseph that conceived to make little baby Jesus. And it's completely ridiculous as to who conceived Mary to be able to shoot somebody, kill another human being. And we're completely away from JC, which is the main event. It's not how JC came here that really is any importance for me. I don't care if it was. Okay? With that last fact, for me, the New Testament is completely out also. It comes from men, stupidities, wars. It makes no sense. I keep only 0.05% of it, and the rest I threw it all away. And I chose the 0.05 as a joke, because here in Quebec, ivres à night, drunk and driving, it's 0.05. So that means so little of it, and the rest I throw it all on the side. Now what's that 0.05 that I take? It's the Sermon on the Mount. For me, it does it all. Why? Is because, number one, all the other saints, or whatever, call them whatever you want, who made the New Testament, they all agree, and it's all the same thing. For once, like they're not contradicting each other. It's always the same story.